Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Eric Jolly, and I am delighted to welcome you to the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation's annual Facing Race Awards. For the last 17 years, we've had the privilege of celebrating spectacular individuals in our community who are fighting racism and challenging dominant and often limiting narratives about race. Because seeing the world through the eyes of others can reshape how we think about ourselves and our community, we are honored to introduce you to our award recipients through their own words. In this program, you'll hear the moving stories of Trahern Crews, whose activism has helped pass laws for the fight against police brutality. Rayona Kardell, who advocates for women who have experienced sexual exploitation. McGee, who uses the African-American tradition of making and delivering sweet potato pies to bring joy to people in the midst of turmoil. And Asha Shoffner, who uses her love of nature to introduce other people of color to the joys of being outdoors. We hope that by sharing these stories with you, you'll be inspired to join us in creating an equitable, vibrant, and just Minnesota where all communities and people thrive. Now I'd like to turn things over to my colleague, Nadej Souvenir.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nadej Souvenir. As you will soon see, each of our Facing Race Award recipients has touched countless lives. They were nominated by community, members of our community, like you and me, and then selected by a panel of previous award winners for this recognition. Trahern Crews is leading the fight against police brutality in Minnesota. As co-founder and lead organizer of Black Lives Matter Minnesota, he has turned his words into action, spearheading the St. Paul Recovery Act Reparations Commission and the Minnesota Migration Act. In an effort to pass down their strategies to the next generations, he has also worked with other leaders to put together a textbook on how to create social change. Trahern's nominator said, "He does great work and has had a big impact on racial justice issues in the state of Minnesota."
I think it's important to be in community because community is where the answers and the solutions are, and the community members are the real experts. They know how systemic racism has impacted their life and their community, and they know what they need to be successful to get out of poverty or whatever barriers they are facing that are holding them back. I'm Trahern Crews. I'm the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota and the lead organizer. Minnesota is the social justice capital of the world because this is ground zero for the fight against police brutality. We're also the home of George Floyd and what was called the racial reckoning in 2020. When George Floyd was killed, he was killed in broad daylight. There were children out there.
What is his name? What can he do? What can he do?
There's not a playbook when the police kill someone's child or someone's mother or someone's father or someone's son. So we had to start making up a playbook on how to respond to police murder or the murders of Black life. We were kind of not liking the way some of the things were going with the traditional legacy organizations when it came to police brutality. There was something that would happen with police. There would be a conversation behind closed doors. We started doing direct actions with BLM. We would not have like a permit. We would just get out in the streets and shut down the streets and march and demand justice. I think if we wouldn't have took that approach that we have been taking, we wouldn't have had a racial reckoning. And if we wouldn't have had a racial reckoning, we wouldn't be having conversations about reparations, police accountability, and economic justice. And that work we started here has spread across the country and across the world. So I would say the Minnesota chapter of BLM is one of the most successful chapters in the United States. I would say at the core of what I do is challenging institutional racism that harms Black life and then bringing solutions to it like reparations. So we're trying to standing on the shoulders of the civil rights movement and trying to complete that work, but we're taking it just into a little different direction. Instead of fighting for civil rights, we're fighting for economic rights and economic justice. One of the hardest parts is to go to a protest and to see a child, and you know that that child will never be able to see their father or their mother again because they've been killed by police. So being able to get justice for that child's family is very rewarding, but also because institutional racism does not get tired, it can become very exhausting for us. To me, it's like fight or die. So it's like if we don't fight, we're gonna die socially, politically, and economically. So that's what keeps me going. And the legacy, knowing that America owes us a debt, knowing that Black people contribute a great deal to this country and can contribute even more if we're all put on an equal playing field. To me, facing race means to face the impossible. Race is a social construct, too, so when we're facing it, that we're facing the myths behind that social constructs and eliminating those myths of like Black people are 3/5 of a human being, dispelling the myths about what Black life is. I was shocked that I did receive this award. Sometimes we've got our head down, we're just working so hard, we don't think people really recognize all the work that we're doing. And sometimes we don't even recognize the work that we're doing till we go back and look at our body of work. And to be able to be honored by an organization that didn't just pop up, but has been involved in the Twin Cities, has been involved in St. Paul, and has been involved in making transformational change is a really big honor. I'm just overwhelmed with joy and excited to be a 2023 recipient of the Face of Race Award.
Trahern is a tireless advocate for racial justice, and his work has helped make Minnesota a more just and equitable state. He is a powerful force for change. Rayona Kardell transforms the lives of women who have experienced sex trafficking and sexual exploitation. She uses her life experiences to provide her clients with love and inspiration when they need it the most. Her nominator said, "Rayona is a dedicated advocate who is passionate about helping our clients to overcome the barriers that they face and to achieve the goals that they felt they would never be able to reach."
I think it's important to show love to all the clients because they're not getting it from anywhere else. We let them know, like, you are somebody and you do mean something. And the only way to show that is the support and the love to give them. My name is Rayona Kardell, and I am a housing advocate at Breaking Free. The women that I help and serve come from prostitution or sex trafficking, or been a victim of sex trafficking. You know, half of the women that come into our program doesn't really know that they're being exploited. When they first come in, it's hard because of course they have their guards up, but eventually, you know, they'll see staff interacting with each other, see staff interacting with other clients, and actually sitting down and having those talks together helps you build that bond and let that wall down. It's a connection. It's like a new family member added to the group. Our program puts together little events for the women to come together and receive like clothing for their kids or themselves. We throw barbecues, we do candlelight vigils for the women that we've lost. We also do things for the women like camping trips or gifts for the kids during Christmas, things like that. I see a lot of women that come into our program having a lot of mental health problems because they haven't dealt with the trauma that they have been through. Mental health and trauma together is a disaster, but these women need that help. But I've also seen women that did deal with the trauma and get through it and be more than they ever thought they ever would be. Like, never thought they would have a job and get a job. Never thought they would drive and is driving. And never thought they would have a place and has a place. You know, never really thought they were worth anything, but is worth everything. I help them forward at their own pace by just letting them know, when you're ready, I'm here. I'm not gonna push you, I'm not gonna pull you, but when you're ready, I'm right here to support you on your journey. And I try to be the motivation for them, let them know you can do it. I am a testimony to it. Our advocates are testimonies too. We are a program that is survivor-led. My coworkers are actually a big part of me and my sanity. I think we all are to each other. It's a hard place to be, you know, dealing with other people's problems and mental health and trauma. What keeps me going is knowing that I'm helping these women and seeing them get through. Receiving this award means a lot to me. My coworker actually nominated me, and she told me, but I didn't think nothing of it. Then she came running back to me so excited, like, oh, you won. So that was very joyful. It feels amazing to be a 2023 Facing Race Award recipient, and I appreciate you guys.
The trauma of trafficking runs deep and compounds the challenges faced by the women, particularly women of color, that Rayona works with. Rayona has helped women, both young and old, break generational curses and find purpose. Rose McGee uses an unlikely tool to fight injustice: sweet potato pies. She shows up with her pies at just the right time and the right place. Her pies have become a symbol of peace, healing, and hope to those impacted by racial trauma. Her nominator said, Miss McGee has shared that sweet potato pie has been one of those healing factors for her, and that there's power in it. That power is rooted in the Black community culture of breaking bread to bring joy, even when joy is hard to find.
I consider the sweet potato pie to be the sacred dessert of Black culture. I grew up in the rural South. I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee, with my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and they made the sweet potato pie anytime that something significant was going on. I'm Rose McGee. I'm the president and founder of Sweet Potato Comfort Pie. I was inspired to start Sweet Potato Comfort Pie, sadly, out of an unrest that was happening. Young Michael Brown had been murdered in Ferguson, Missouri, and I felt compelled to do something and felt led to make sweet potato pies, of all things. That made very little sense to me, but being a woman of faith, I would simply say that the Lord spoke to me and said, make some pies and take them down to Ferguson. People would look at me a little bit strange at first, but then, you know, they'd open the box and the aroma comes out and then they'd talk. I discovered that people just wanted to be listened to, they wanted to be heard, and they wanted to be treated with respect. And coming back home, I realized I needed to do something with that energy. And that's how we started the Martin Luther King holiday weekend, where volunteers would come in over that weekend, that Saturday, make the number of sweet potato pies that Dr. King's age would have been if he were alive. And then on Sunday, have conversations about race, but also who they'd like to gift those pies to. And that's how those pies would go out into the community. To this date, we've made about 4,000 pies. Food, cultural food, has always been a powerful thing. And people love to come together over food. And when they come together over food and can see the commonality, not only that, the power that comes when people come together to make the pies. We call it, it's what's in the batter that matters. And people get excited and they're not thinking about what color somebody is or where somebody lives or what job you have or don't. They're working in harmony. And it's a beautiful thing. And then to sit down and you taste it and go, oh, this is pretty good. We did good together, didn't we? Well, can't you do good together in the community every day in what you do? So I always say the sweet potato pie called me. I did not wake up one morning and say, I'm gonna make sweet potato pies and just start putting them out there as a way to bring people together and to talk about race. No, not at all. I don't even like to cook. We all have to find our place. Mine happens to be making pies at this time in my life, but at the same time, really being on top of what's going on in race relations all around. I have hope. I have to continue to carry hope. Through food and through relationships, we have sustained and overcome a lot. Pain is just something that has been a part of our lives for generations, but yet we survive. It is such a surprise, first of all, and honor to receive the Facing Race Award. It just lets me know how important it is to remind people that no matter what you do, it's important when you do it from the heart. You listen to that little voice because you never know when it might be a change maker, how it might impact somebody on some level that is totally unexpected. So this particular award is inspiring me to do more. It's inspiring me to want to do more and to live up to its name and to be an inspiration. So I am very grateful.
Since establishing sweet potato comfort pie, Rose's baketivism has grown worldwide. In her new children's book, Can't Nobody Make a Sweet Potato Pie Like Our Mama, she shares the treasured recipe that has brought joy in the midst of turmoil. As the lead of the St. Paul Parks and Recreation's outdoor and environmental education work, Asha Shoffner has initiated and managed groundbreaking programs to create opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the Twin Cities to enjoy the outdoors. According to her nominator, Asha's style is to identify talent, equip others with the knowledge and skills to assume leadership roles, and build community.
At least for me, there's so much healing that happens outdoors, and in Minnesota, I think there's a lot of racial tension and racial disparities, and so being able to bring folks out into nature to experience the different kinds of connection and healing, it feels really important to me and is also just a beautiful way to share and engage in the outdoors with folks. Hey, my name's Asha. My pronouns are she, her. I love the outdoors. I'm an outdoor educator, and I just spend a lot of time outdoors. BIPOC folks, right, we face all kinds of things outdoors, all kinds of different, forms of racism, microaggressions, macroaggressions, being questioned like, why are we here? What are we doing here? It's like, well, we're just here to enjoy the outdoors like you are, right? To me, it felt really important to be able to create a space where BIPOC folks that look like me, can be outdoors and just exist. I started BIPOC Outdoors Twin Cities late June of 2020, and we had about 100 people join in that first week. We did our first hike here at Crosby on July 6, 2020. That day, that program, that opportunity changed my life. I've been coming down here since the early 90s, and that was the first time in July 2020 that I had been with an entire group of folks that looked like me and were from my community. With the BIPOC Outdoors group, we do a number of things. Some are formal, so like we've done outdoor photography while BIPOC. We've done kayaking while BIPOC, snowboarding while BIPOC. And then there's also a lot of informal things too that happen where it's just, putting the call out of saying, hey, I'm gonna go catch a sunset or I'm gonna go fishing. Does anybody wanna join me? That group is a good space and a good format, I think, for lots of different ways to engage with people and in the outdoors. Connecting with BIPOC folks in the outdoors, the best way I can describe it is just that it's magical, right? bringing together people who some have a lot of experience in the outdoors and some are brand new to the outdoors, and just like learning together and co-creating, what it is that we want to do and how we want to show up outdoors. I am at my best and have seen many community members at their best when we're outdoors together. And being with folks that look like me in the outdoors just does something to my nervous system that just allows it to settle a little bit, which isn't easy to do, right? As a queer person of color in the Twin Cities. Being able to be kind of at peace and fully myself in the outdoors with BIPOC folks it's truly magical. My hope in this work, big picture, is that we are creating like a BIPOC army, right, of outdoor educators so that we can continue to lead programs, that we're seen outdoors, right, as skilled and competent people, knowledgeable people out here, that we're hireable so that people want to come and hire us to lead programs, so that kids can see folks in their community, older folks in their community who look like them leading these things and being the folks that they can go to for outdoor adventures and support around that. Facing race to me means showing up. Despite all of the microaggressions or macroaggressions or any number of things that we might encounter, that we still show up, right? That we show up for ourselves, we show up for one another, we show up for the environment, right? We show up for our health and well-being and community health and well-being. So facing race to me means showing up persistently. I'm just super humbled to be receiving the 2023 Facing Race Award. And it wouldn't be possible without just a really awesome community. It's all the people that keep showing up and creating this community and really defining who we are.
BIPOC communities have endured a long history of exclusion when it comes to outdoor recreation. In her work, Asha inspires BIPOC individuals to see themselves and be themselves outdoors, creating a new narrative of inclusion. These 4 individuals exemplify the powerful work being done in community.
Thank you, Nadej. Wow. This year's award recipients so beautifully illustrate how our different passions, interests, and talents can be tools for change. As they showed, Trahern's tool is advocacy. With Rose, it's baking. Asha followed her connection to nature to impact others, and Rayona touches lives through her instinct to provide care. Sometimes we simply need to be open to whatever it is that calls each of us to be an instrument of change. I want to thank you for tuning in to the 2023 Facing Race Awards. The awards are just one of the many ways that the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation advocates for equity. Please visit our website to see how you can join us in making Minnesota a place where everyone can feel at home. We work with donors, professional advisors, and nonprofits across the state, and we'd love to connect with you. Learn more at our website, spmcf.org.